kind of just go for it. But when you're thinking about your stock investments, it's like you take it more seriously. But with the but with the real estate, you kind of feel like that you could just go for it. Mm. You know, because I don't hear all the questions. I generally just be like, oh, I bought this, or oh, I have this property over there, and it's like, oh, how did that come in? That's part of your portfolio also. That's real estate is part of your investment portfolio. What a great way to start. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and everywhere. Indeed. Tell me how many, by a show of hands, has read the book? Yes. And you members, you have no excuse because the book is right there. When you log in, go to member resources or go to the download center. Get all the books, even the kid book. Your kid's book is about legacy and it's a workbook. We got to get that, because in the research, when I was researching, like, why do we like real estate so much? It was a lot about legacy. So what do I mean there? What do I mean? Like, why would it be like, I don't know, my camera looks funny, like my head, like, ooh, look, y'all gotta tell me these things, like, JB, your head's like funny, doesn't it? Oh no, it's Michael's fault because he's not here with me right now. He's in another room. Babe, if my head looks funny, you should come and save me.
That's the genetics.
That's it, yeah, whatever. Exactly. I know, I gotta go into the Zoom setting. Head shrinker. That's okay. You love it. But y'all tell me, what is the connection between real estate and legacy in that, we're seeing? So what do you think?
Well, you can leave some real estate to your offspring.
And you feel like that, is that why, I keep hearing so much conversation about real estate in the middle of a pandemic? There's, I was looking at a study and it was like, an ABC news story that was talking about like there's a serious run. Like after the pandemic, the market started coming back. And they did the news story and it was like, are Black people missing out? And it didn't really say, are Black people missing out? It said, stocks are soaring, Black people are missing out. But not us, because we talk about it all the time. But I think a lot of times we don't realize that, especially as members of AfroEconomics that are all about wealth and wealth development, that you are a statistical anomaly. Like, there's only a few, of us that are truly like really into the importance of diversification, of knowing all of the principles of AfroEconomics and the importance of legacy and the importance of credit confidence and knowing about investment options and understanding every financial decision and maximizing your work benefits and getting the allocation and your risk tolerance set up along with your health and how it impacts your wealth. Those are the things that we do. And for a lot of people, unfortunately, it's overwhelming. But you are handling it. You're taking time out. Like we got over 60 people registered for tonight's discussion. But is there anything else on the planet actually talking about this topic? Tonight, you took time away from Trump getting fired to make sure that your wealth is being developed. And I want to really just talk about how we can make sure that we get protected, because there's a lot of stuff going on in real estate. Like when I updated the topic for tonight, I added in interest rates, because a lot of the interest in real estate is being created by interest rates. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to know, like, I just like, we started looking for information on why would we choose, real estate over, the investment markets. When I saw one feedback, Ms. Davis, and that when they were like researching different Black financial advisors, and they were saying that we don't invest in the stock market at a as high a percentage as in the white community. There's like 80% of Black people, and it's in the 90%, of white people that are actually actively involved in the stock market. And for the majority of us, that those that are in the market is through the work plan, through the 401ks and things like that, the TSPs, whatever you have, like we are getting stock exposure. But now there's more and more information after this COVID that less of us are actually that the number is declining. Like after the real estate crisis in 2007, 8, 9, the Black people started not seeing real estate so much as the greatest investment ever when they saw it tear up their wealth. But in 2019, even down to 2019, it ended up the study here, the ABC News article, it said that only 33.5% of Black households owned stocks in 2019. But like the home ownership is at about 40%. But when I see, but most of our discussion, like online and social media and things like that, like you see a lot of talk about real estate. And I just want someone to tell me, like, why do you think? Because we've been discriminated in the housing market, and we've been discriminated in having access to the investment market as well. And we don't have a lot of Black people in the real estate industry, especially when you're looking at it from a commercial perspective. It's just the number's probably a little bit larger than that you would have that actually have an investment advisory firm. We have some people selling insurance and things like that. The numbers are a lot higher, but when it's going on to like investment, especially on investment advisory, it's the numbers get smaller and smaller because you're focusing more on just wealth development and you're not connected. Like I am not connected to a product.
JB, this is Apple. I think, what I've been seeing just over, I say the last year, I see a lot of community development in certain areas, rural as well as city. And in some of these neighborhoods, there are promotions and, incentives for people to purchase. Now, whether, it's the right time or not, that's, that's a variable, for the individual. And I guess for someone who wants to own, if they could have a mortgage that is less than rent, I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't be one to jump on that. And I might say, I know home ownership is a big deal because there are a lot of expenses that come along with that. But if it means that at this present moment, my mortgage would be $850 and my rent is $13, I would probably jump ship and buy.
Amen. That makes a lot of sense because you want your housing expense to be as low as possible.
And I only say $850 because, I was in the housing stuff for a minute. And I was talking with the head of the VHDA loan, whatever she did. But she was asking me if I had clients who could afford $850. She said, because if they can afford $850 in rent, I can put them in a home.
That's right. And what happens is that get in it and you get excited. Like on the research, when we did our study last year, when we kind of briefly talked about this, and I was sharing that a CNBC research did a study on debt and how much debt people had, and when as they were aging, and people in their 80s still having their mortgages. Mm-hmm. You know, when we're talking about residential now, y'all. So that they were, they also noted that people who were homeowners were more likely to have higher amounts of wealth. And I said, wow, like, you know, because the stock market has actually, you know, outperformed the residential real estate big time over the long term.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, like, it makes you wonder, like, wow, how? Well, then they went so far as to break down where that wealth was coming from, because we only get to see studies that say people who have homes have more wealth than renters. That's what we get. So, but what we have to do with everything is go behind the numbers. So it broke down the fact that the people who purchased homes that were affordable. Remember, you just said Ms. Hayes, $850.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus $1,200. So they actually went down in expenses, because when you start purchasing, now you have to replace the dishwasher. You have to get a lawnmower. You have to replace the windows. You have to replace, you know, tell them.
Yeah.
So you might put in the those panels, like, you know, the like
solar.
Fred, right, Fred? Put in, you know, the solar panels and things like that. All that's money. So it's not just what that monthly payment is. And that's what they want you to believe. Like, you see the research studies, if you can get people to just look at things as a monthly payment, they can make all the money in the world off you. Because you totally forgot about expenses, fees, maintenance, taxes, insurance, you know. You forgot. And all of a sudden you can't even, because we, you know, are less likely to have these savings accumulated. You can't even participate as strongly in your retirement account as the neighbor who inherited money and used it for their down payment. And they still have an emergency fund. So what we have to be careful about is making sure that your housing is affordable, because if you run the numbers, a renter who is living in an affordable place without the maintenance, taxes, and expenses, you can find many university studies that will show that person who invested the difference on what they would have done if they had the house, or what they're doing with just renting and investing the difference. Their wealth is huge. But how many people do that?
Yeah, not a lot of people, JB. But I know that my son is now looking to rent. He was looking at renting houses or renting apartments. And like she was saying, rent is ridiculous. They are now going into an apartment that is $1,200 a month. And a coworker of mine is renting a house for $1,700 a month. And I like to fell out on the floor when I found it. I'm like, wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, but they don't have a lot, you know what I mean? They don't have a lot of expenses.
Right.
The maintenance.
Yeah. I think, JB, I rent. So when I moved, my rent went up. But also, I have always rented, and my sister and a very best friend, they all bought houses, and they said a lot of times they're just saying I'm house poor because of the expense of it. You know, when they tell me how much they're paying in a mortgage, I'm thinking, oh, that sounds good. But then when I go to my sister, she said, you know, it's cold in here. I got a leak from here, you know, so you just think, just hear dollar signs, you know, and it's nice when you first move in because everything's new, but that newness wears off and it wears and tears, you know, even just basic things, carpeting.
That's right.
I mean, you know, those things add up, and people, and like you said, people don't think about that.
That's right. And
that it is an expense,
careful.
especially if you're, single, and if you only have the one income. So, but then you have to think, I still have to eat, I still have to pay my car note, I still have to, if I want to buy something or just do something, you can't do it, because of other, I'm just daily expenses.
That's right. Who is this person that spoke that untruth? Who is Jay? Jay said that equity appreciates faster than the stock market. If the research says that residential real estate has barely outpaced inflation, how can that be outpacing the stock market? No, like what happens is the home, you buying a home is a form of forced savings if it appreciates in value. But what we have the challenge of is that in Black neighborhoods, I have people who their home is not worth as much as they bought it for 30 years ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially if you adjust it for inflation, they lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of money and they put it all in there, and it needs to be updated now.
Updated, yeah.
Can't
keep up with all. It's expensive.
That is the challenge. You know what I'm saying? That is the challenge for us. But definitely, that's kind of like what they say, that muscle weighs more than fat. A pound is a pound, is a pound. Return is a return, is a return. You know what I'm saying? Like pound for pound, like like they don't care what it is when you get in the ring, it's pound for pound. And a pound for pound, look at it, Google it, over the long term, the S&P 500, using that as a historical performance, has outperformed residential real estate. So that that key word there that I'm saying is we're talking about making sure that we have affordable housing for us.
Affordable, yeah.
As Ms. Hayes, you posted something about the VHDA.
Yeah.
I think their program is so scary, it's frightening.
Oh, I agree. I just was giving it to the guy who asked about it.
And what they do is they allow people with no savings.
Yes.
And when I used to volunteer to do the program, because because I used to do mortgages, we used to be one of the things that we provided, and I became so sick of the lenders nauseating and frustrating my clients. I was like, I'm not going to allow mortgages to ruin good relationships.
Yeah.
Because you get to the end, y'all know about that.
Yeah.
They say, oh, we need so-and-so. Oh, we so-and-so showed up, like, oh my, they were looking at me like, help. And I'm like, I can't. The underwriter is asking for this. Yeah. So, but it did teach me what God wanted me to know for you. So when I look at people's loan papers, I'm speaking from experience about how much money they are making off you. When I look at it, you know what I'm saying? I know the massive amount of money that I was able to help clients save as they were refinancing, when we're talking about going from 12% to 6%.
Yeah.
And now we're wasting our equity. You want to talk about equity? Is when you waste your equity to go from 3.5 to 2.9.
Yes.
That's what's happening. When you can just make an extra payment at the beginning of every year and way outpace that. Way outpace that. You know what I'm saying? Most of you have great interest rates. You have to be very careful what you're doing, because there's fee on top of fee on top of fee.
And JB, I agree with you in that, that of course the stock market outperforms real estate, because, we just sold a home that we had for 28 years. And it took that long for that price to actually, what did it do? Triple? So it took 28 years.
Yeah, almost 30 years. And that
almost 30 years.
But your story is so appropriate for this, because whoever bought your house from you bought it at a too high a price.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't even look at the history of appraisals in the area. Their agent just went, and they knew that appraisal would go by. They get paid on commission. The higher the price, there's no way your agent's going to tell you, you know, 6 months ago, this house was 50,000 cheaper. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do it because they're giving up $3,000 at least by doing that.
That's right.
An advisor will tell you, you know what I mean? You need to check this out. That is one of the biggest mistakes that people are making right now, is that the appraisals are inflated.
Yep.
You can check back 6 months later, you know, all they got to do is get 2 houses that sold, you know what I'm saying? And then, or even less. Yeah, lower, you know what I mean? Go higher, and it's on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So JB, what do you think about, there's this, I guess, real estate investing thing called Fundrise. And I was reading about it, and it allows you to invest in different properties all over the U.S., like either commercial property or apartments and stuff like that. But I mean, have you heard anything about that?
No, but before you would ever do anything like that, you need to speak to me about real estate investments through the stock market. We have now real estate investment trusts.
Oh, okay.
Are already regulated. You don't have to worry about who's taking my money. That last sneeze was so sweet. Who's going to take your money, if they're regulated, if they're licensed, if they're, you know, when you are doing something that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange, you have protected yourself.
Right, because I don't think this place is like that.
Yeah, they're all over the internet. That's why I wanted to make sure that we talked about this. Like, we're signing up for $200, $300 classes and all that stuff. If you're a member of AfroEconomics, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? And then most of those are just people trying to recruit people, you know what I mean, to give them part of their money that they make on the property. You don't have to share it. No, so definitely, Ms. Anderson was saying that if you live in the house long enough, you pay off the mortgage. I know that's right. I hope so, right? but most people don't. And the key is the house value going up. You know what I mean? Over that. And the real return. See, I think that what real estate sneaks in is you don't ever adjust your real return, especially on the investment properties. Like, we get, the investment properties, and you think that it's okay to have a loss every year because you're writing it off on your taxes. But would that be okay if your investment account went down every year?
No.
It's not okay. Nope. Like, and then, we have to be careful with, that when they're telling you like that, these are the reasons, that real estate investing is great. And there are reasons that real estate investing is great. Like, they're like, you have to look at the appreciation in the price. So that's the property going up from one price to another, even if it's your own. Then if you're doing the investment property, you want to see what type of rental income potential it has, right? And then the tax benefits of real estate investing. So they'll tell you, and I don't know, I've never been to any of those classes, because somebody tell me, is that the kind of stuff that they talk about? Like how you make money on real estate investing? So when you do the investments, like the real estate investment trust, or using ETFs to buy the real estate investment trust, which are groups of just properties, and you can find what properties they have. They might have Home Depot, Lowe's, and McDonald's, whatever properties that they have in there, or different apartments, or Avalon, or Dominion, all these different apartments, whatever, it'll tell you what's in there. And then you are, actually buying that group, and you can trade and get out, versus if you're just trying to get into some off-track group, or you're trying to even just buy the property on your own. That's the biggest thing that we have to be careful of, because I think that we like them because they allow you to be very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, like we do real estate because it allows you to get a loan. Like, y'all, give me some feedback on that. Like,
It's true. You're right.
Right?
That's it's tangible.
Because it's tangible. Like, what I'm saying? But so you get something to touch. I get that because it's like, it's easier to trust that building is going to be there versus this investment portfolio.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but you can't sell that building the same day you say sell, JB.
That's right.
That's true. I was listening to this man, and he was talking about buying real estate. It was a program, Black Money, Black Power.
Okay.
So he was telling people, you know, this is a great time to invest in real estate, and what you need to do is not houses, but you need to go on. You know, he was telling them to go on a corridors. I think it's the corridors of a highway. And get those empty lots that you see, or empty buildings, and get those. And I was thinking, what would you do with it? I mean, you know, and I live in Pennsylvania, so a lot of people go to Breezewood.
That's right.
And I was thinking about Breezewood, how all that real estate there's nothing there. You know, it used to be in the 70s and 80s. It was just a nice place. But now it's just a lot, you know, Wendy's even went out of business. And I was saying, all these people come stop here. And I know they'd rather have a sandwich from Wendy's than sitting down at Bob Evans, you know, but they can't keep it. So I was thinking, why would you want to buy a building on a highway?
That's right. I mean, there would be good reasons to buy a building on a highway. Like you might be a gas station. It might be a McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Like, so people can come right off and get to your thing, you know, but if it's having a problem, then it's already not. Like, if you can get a property that's there, you have to wonder, why is this property here?
Right.
Right.
Like, is that not a good exit? Like, is this a high crime area? Like, you know, is that where the sniper shot somebody? You know? Like, you just like, what is wrong? And that's what we have to realize, that most smart real estate investors want a property that's already generating income. Yes. They'll take it, and they'll take the tenants with it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, I want it. Then they have proof of income. But what happens is, if we're not careful, they will talk us, because you might be new, and they're like, don't talk to no JB Bryan. She don't know about this. I know about flipping. We gonna get it and flip, you know? So I'm gonna do that. Well, investment is an investment, you know, and it's good or it's good. And if you are talking, everything is about supply and demand. Everything is about supply and demand. So when you're talking about flipping, you're saying that I have to make this thing so good that I'm gonna create a demand for it, because nobody wants it right now.
That's right.
And we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about it like that. But how are you gonna sell it? So you have to be very careful. If you're a flipper, you have to have more money, because you gotta make it good. You gotta make me want it. And you gotta make more off of it than you put in it. Or you ain't do anything. You just lost money. And a lot of times we don't factor in all that, the construction, the expense, like everything that it's going to cost to get it to that price. So when they say, I made 100,000, you believe them. You believe them. They got a check for 100,000, but you got to see their tax return to see what they really made, which is probably negative.
JB, they might be negative. A flipper might be negative if they have to pay to have the work done.
Yes.
Now, a good friend of mine, that's what he does. But he's a construction guy. He does the work himself.
That's right.
He doesn't have to bring in a whole crew.
He can count out the labor, but look how much that's costing him in time. He still needs to include that. He really should include it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that he can really know his return on his investment.
Exactly.
You know, because if Trump has to go in to do the property himself, you know what I'm saying, then I'm not working on my next deal.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what I'm saying? The developer, like the development process, you know, that's a high investment right there. To decide on a development, that makes the risk level of that investment so much higher. But so they, instead of calling it development, they'll call it flipping, because that makes it sound easy. Like it's just a somersault, you know? And then you put all this money in this. That's your money. Like you cannot, the cost of your money is so high, and we don't factor it in You know, like, I mean, and I don't like that when we go, like, I can't, you will allow other people to get away with stuff that you'll act like $30 is a big deal. You see what I'm saying? But this is true. And don't let them, I'll say they're taking thousands from you. And then you'll say, oh, what's the matter? I mean, you know, it's like, oh, so, but you have a problem with $30? Isn't that sad though when you really think about it? It's like,
yes.
Why would you allow them? And see, that's that Black woman shadow that we carry. That's that real discrimination that we can't get away from. That no matter how much I love you, you know what I'm saying? If you don't trust me because I look like you, you know what I mean? We can't win.
Yeah, that's right.
We can't win. You know what I'm saying? We can't win. I was telling a sister that earlier this week. Like, you know, I was doing some things and we were doing things, and then she said she sent some of her money away to someone while we were talking.
Oh,
and
God.
I said, well, why did you send your money to that person? I said, did they do a risk analysis? Do you know what they're doing? Do you know what their fees are? She didn't know any of that.
Oh, my God.
It hurts.
I didn't even have a conversation.
But at least I told her. I said, that really hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Because you're just like, you know, y'all don't know how much I care about your success. Like she had said, well, you know, what he said, what he has is better than what you have. Then I get it. But you haven't even seen what I have.
Right.
So you're not even, I don't even get a chance. I don't even get to go on the field to prove myself.
Right.
That's not, you know what I'm saying? That hurts.
Yeah. I would have never had that conversation with you. Gosh.
You know, right? No, I don't know, but I think sometimes that people think that Black women are not motivated. Like they think that I don't want to be successful. And we've decided that it's okay, that I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Just because I love you and I love Black people, this is not a nonprofit. Right. This ain't a public service. I'm doing this because you're my niche. You know, this is what I do. I'm a Black wealth specialist. And if I was like working, if I were gay and I said I focus on women, nobody would have no problem with that. Isn't that something? Yeah. But because, you know what I'm saying, but because of this, like all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what I'm saying, I'm a civil rights leader or something. No, I'm a wealth leader. I want you to make money. Yeah. That's why I gotta stop allowing you to let yourself be robbed. The money you give away. If I could just invest what you give away, it's like, oh my goodness, Francine, can you feel me? You know? It's like, look, and nobody really appreciates that they have the opportunity to have somebody serve you who really cares about you too often until you don't get treated right. Because that's what got me to start the business in the first place. I was tired of financial advisors always trying to take me to lunch and make a move on me when I'm just trying to buy a mutual fund. It was sick. I was like, I wonder if other people going through this. That's crazy. You know, I mean, you know, really. I was like, and there probably are. Yeah. You know, you don't need that. Somebody's like, you know what I'm saying? Like talking about something else. You know what I'm saying? And trying to distract you. And that's what happens with us getting with the women right now, Eric. But, you know, we do. Oh, you look nice today. You know what I mean? And you done lost your mind and blew your whole savings. You're so, you know, it's so sad. I saw it on a TV interview and they were talking about that. They were showing like, watch this. So the guy was like, oh, you know, telling the woman all of these, you know, nice things about herself. And then he sold her something that didn't exist. It was like some bridge investment in New York. You know what I mean? It was like, this doesn't even exist. Like, why did you buy this? What somebody said, hey, JB, Miss Lewis, did you say?
I was just going to say we have in the chat, somebody wants to talk about signing papers and not knowing what we're signing.
I know.
And is it good to be a landlord?
Amen. Well, look, who would want to be, look, by raising hands, who would want to be a landlord right now?
Not right now. Not right now.
That was amazing to me. Like people like going around scooping up, like why can't we just get the easy stuff? Like, why can't we don't go around, well, you know, in a couple of years, well, you know what? How would that work if I go, but you know what? This investment is horrible right now.
Exactly.
But in a couple of years, you know, it might be better. You know, who does that work for? We gotta think this stuff through. You know, I'm gonna buy this land right here because 20 years from now, I don't have time for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what.
But I don't want to be broke.
Yeah.
We have to like turn our lives around with a sense of urgency. It is 2021. And if we don't fight back, this world is going to run us over.
Yeah.
We have to stop allowing other people, even our own, to just dog us out. And then you say it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And do not sign anything. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Without getting some backup. It has happened all the time. We had a member that signed a form, you know, and he was thinking that he was a partner in a deal, and it was really a personal loan. Wow. But I'm nowhere near a lawyer, but I don't charge you that. So your membership fee covers everything. If I look at the sheet, if you want me to look at it, I'm gonna give you your. But as much as I knew, like a lawyer, you know, I was enough that I wouldn't have let you sign it that way, you know, and that's just from a financial advisor perspective. So we can discover a lot. And if I think, and we both agree, yeah, this needs to go, you know, you need that. But I feel like all contracts, I know Ms. Hayes would agree, need to be overviewed by your lawyer, not the other person, but your lawyer.
Yep.
Somebody on your side. Like I had some clients going into a real estate interest, right? I had a client I had a client going into a real estate deal, and the people that they were going into the deal with told them what lawyer to call.
Oh no, that's a conflict of interest.
Thank you. I said, no, that's a conflict of interest. They said, oh, but nah, they just ran and they so and so. I said, I'm telling you, that allows them to shadow the deal and make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that it goes smoothly and their way. And they want to keep as much control over this transaction as possible. They want to check those Negroes out. That's what that's coming from. We got to wait. You know what I mean? We got to look alive.
And they will mask it with, this is a win-win for all.
Exactly. I was doing this deal for this family member one time when I was doing the mortgages. And I was like, it was like 2008 or whatever. That was not a good time to be taking time doing anything else. So I took time away from my investment, and I'm looking over this deal because they needed, it was that property value was going down, and they were losing the deal with the lender that they had. And they didn't want to come to the table with any more money. So I spent the entire week searching out lenders and I found a lender that was, you know, going to do the deal. And I told them what we needed to do. They went back to the big company, you know, and they said, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. They gave them a much worse deal, and they put them in 2 loans, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, y'all gonna feel that later. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you're gonna feel that later. Like, that's easy now. But when they do the 2 loans to get you in and all of this, you got one with a big interest rate. You know what I'm saying? It's one with the small. If you can do a big loan with a smaller interest rate, you're doing much better.
Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of times we go in on these deals, not talking to anybody else, you know what I'm saying? Trying to go in with the minimum down, which increases your interest rate right there. And you don't have any ownership. There was a time where Black people could not get in on, you know, a property without at least 20% down. And we have a member who
70s
who vows by that's why he's wealthy today, because they wouldn't let him, you know what I mean, only put a little bit down. He was like, that helped me so much because I always had equity. You know, always had equity. But so sometimes, like, we'll look at things and we go, oh, that's so nice. They're doing 1,000 down. You know what I'm saying? That's because the county and the state and the federal government, everybody benefits from you having that property. They want those taxes. They're like, so let's get them in there. And all it is for too many people, glorified renters that end up paying all those fees and then foreclosing. That's why you have the extra insurance on it. And if you look at the research, it has really hurt our community. We need to be more conscious about when we go into our purchases and how. If I could get that group of smart renters, and I can tell them how, they can save up their money, do 20% down, and be actively participating in their retirement plan, they'd be wealthier than any other ones because of the discipline that it requires. When people make things easy for you, it doesn't build any discipline, any strength that goes over to all the other aspects of our lives, correct?
Correct.
So they try to do these things, think they're acting like they're doing us a favor, but no, they're helping themselves. They're helping themselves. And they go to and take advantage of the poorest among us. It's sad when you think about it. They know their foreclosure rate is in, like 90%. They get it back anyway. That is scary, y'all, though. So if there are key things to avoid, especially in buying these investment properties. You want to make sure that it generates income. You want to make sure that it has positive cash flow. You want to make sure that it's not going to be bare land that doesn't have any rent, any income potential for it. So it's going to be harder for you to sell it. So you see it, but we don't even think about the fact that raw land that you have back home is one of the most risky investments ever. And all of us know somebody who's got land back home. Y'all know them, right?
Yeah.
It's just sitting there.
I sold mine.
Good for you. Good for you. Right? But it's really risky. Why is it risky? Because you don't know, and you still are paying money on it.
That's right.
What it's going to become. I mean, it is possible, I guess, that a Walmart come there. It is possible, but you got to get them to buy from you. Yeah. And then you got to be smart enough to sell it to them.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they go, nah, because Black folk don't have that is only a problem if you get money and you waste it. You can sell anything and do something smarter with it, and you're going to advance in life. And you look back, oh, wow, it's a golf course there now. But you could have your money wisely invested in a portfolio worth multiple millions of dollars too. Why can't everybody advance? But you didn't want to put the money on there to make it a golf course. You could have done that.
Yep. That's
not what you do. That's what they do. So do what you do. What do you do? Take the money, start a business. It's not about it. The problem is what? When we get the money and we buy Cadillac, because it's going to depreciate. It's not going to get more value. You buy a dump truck and start a business, then you got something, right? Right. Because I always wanted to have the bit, you can do, and it creates income for you for generations. It's not, it's not about the sell, it's about what we do with it. And these government loans, those are the ones where, you don't have to pay. And unfortunately, too many of us are not paying our mortgages now. And not paying, I saw that in research. They said we're more likely not to be paying our mortgage during COVID. So you know what that's going to mean? we could run into another 2008, 2009. Because if you can't catch it up, right, that's going to be a problem. Who wins when they like adjust it and this and that, and you know, they get it, they win because they just put it on the end and do whatever fancy work they do, but you know, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. So we need to be careful to make sure that we're communicating. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like JV sadly is coming. I know, Mr. Jones, but not to us. It doesn't have to happen to us. It doesn't, because we're, you know me, because we're going to be proactive, right?
Right.
Be proactive and we're going to get this. We're going to, you know, if you see this or there's a challenge or you feel threatened by something or you're considering something or you carrying some dead weight and you've got something, because, you know, if people are going around selling properties and your cash flow is low and you're about to lose your residence, it's time for you to sell. Mm-hmm. So you can get that, like, you know, take advantage of giving them an opportunity because they may be able to do something much better than what you did with it because you don't have it. I remember a commercial property downtown Richmond I had, and everybody was like, don't sell it. You can split it up and you can so and so and you can da-da-da. And I was like, I don't have no money to put in this building. I own an investment firm. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
That's not what I do. I don't want this. You know, I don't want to. And it worked as long as I wanted to live above it. But as my daughter got older, I was like, I got to go somewhere where she can go to school. Ain't no neighbors, no friends. I'm looking at that. Look, the bum on the corner was her friend. Like, you know, they were there, look at the bum. You know, it's like, the corner. I was like, she have class. You know, we got to go to somewhere. We got to live somewhere. So we outgrew that. But if I had got caught up in the listening to everybody else, I would have missed out on that opportunity because within a couple of weeks, somebody bought that cash. They were lobbyists and they needed to be there close to the Capitol. You could walk, they can walk to their meetings because for me, it blocked off the street because they did a major reconstruction. See, you gotta listen when you feel it. And it's time you have to not listen to everybody else. You got to keep moving forward. And I can't tell you how many times in my life that I have trusted my instinct that it's time to go. I remember that they were having an argument in a building when I first started my business. And they were having an argument. And because they couldn't stop arguing, they wrote us all letters and said, please move. So I moved. But this one guy, he was a lawyer, he said, they can't make me move. So he stayed. And guess what happened? That building got burned to the ground.
Wow.
To the ground. Yes. And I saw him one time, he said, that building burned to the ground. I lost all my files, all my client stuff, everything gone. That was before, you know, we had all these e-documents. He said, I lost everything. I said, man, when they wrote you the letter, you should have got out. What were you thinking? I said, you don't get in the middle of nobody's argument. Wow. That was funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was like that. I mean, I just, so when I know it's my exit, y'all, you know, we have to trust that. Have you ever had an exit, like say a job, and you stayed anyway and you lived to regret it? And you knew, like, I was supposed to go. I was supposed to get out of here 5 years ago. Exactly. And it's like 5 years later, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm still in this. Because did you know in order to, I know Mr. Jones said relationship.
I totally agree.
Right?
I totally agree.
No, I know. I thank God for my sugar, but I know that feeling. You know, I know that feeling. Amen. But just know, Mr. Jones, better is ahead. Just keep moving forward. Two Joneses too.
That's funny.
That might be your man, Jenny.
Oh. If he's not 80, he's too young.
I know that's right. You stupid. Don't believe that. She likes them young. She's just trying to make you try harder. He'll be like, I'm 60, I'm only 60. Oh, she's like, no. And this is funny. That's a good approach. See? She's a smart woman. Make them beg. But I definitely, there's a time we have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Remember that time I walked up, I played that song one week. Know when to walk away and know when to run. And there are going to be some deals like that. There's going to be some deals like that. It's going to look like a perfectly great deal.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to a real estate class, it should be focused on what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Deals don't do. The biggest mistakes that they made, what I did wrong and what I would do differently. No, because we really need to be, and a lot of times when they talk about the tax advantages of the real estate, they'll go, oh, I was reading this article and it was like, oh, real estate has the depreciation tax advantage and the stock market doesn't have that. And I was like, I don't believe that they can even use that like that, because the reason that you can depreciate your real estate is because it is actually being used. It is used. So it is actually, every time you're using, it's a actual property. But believe it or not, in an investment property, you lose that tax advantage when you sell it. So it's just giving you an expense while you have it so that you can reduce the income on it so that you can use the income to maintain the property. They're not giving us anything.
Right. Yeah.
It all works out. And then at the end, because you put it on your tax return, you better have that factored back in when you sell it. So it's, what I mean? They get it back, believe me, because you have to pay capital gains taxes on your real estate properties, on the investment properties, and as well as on the stock market. When you sell it, you make a gain. But no, just like in real estate, while it is going up in value, that is not a taxable event. But the income from a stock, like a dividend, it is a taxable event, even if you reinvest it, if it's outside of a retirement account. But so is the income on the real estate. So, that everything makes sense when we think it through, but question everything. When I read, I just question everything now. I was watching a video the other day, and the guy was telling about this IPO that he liked, and and I like it, but he was showing the wrong video he was showing the wrong stock on the screen, and he never realized his error. He was showing something else. He was, and I was like, and then I went in the comments. I said, please have somebody make a comment that you are showing the wrong thing. Nobody made a comment.
Not even you?
No, I can't. Because I don't, want to even suggest that I'm making a recommendation that you should buy it because of my license. But I can't get involved. But that's how careful you have to be.
Right.
And definitely how careful I have to be. They'd be like, what you say? And I mean, I really be, because of what we do, I really carry myself as if every conversation that I have with you publicly like this is being recorded and watched. I mean, I've gone in to do workshops and I have regulators have come. And it wasn't like I didn't advertise it in the paper or anything. So it's, definitely the I have to be careful. But these people, they weren't licensed, so they can put anything on that video that they want, and it was a mistake. I'm not gonna say but a nonsensical mistake, but a mistake that would have really been bad for me. It was showing the wrong thing. It was saying one thing, but I know the mistake because when you first Google it, that does come up. But what he was doing, he was putting the symbol in wrong. So it was like, you know what I mean? A common mistake, because I think that somewhere printed the symbol for the stock wrong. And he went to the same thing. So I remember the first time I searched it, that it came up wrong like that. And it went to something else. But instead he shared that. I don't think he ever realized that you're looking at the wrong thing. The name was different. I don't know what he was reading.
Mm.
But just be careful. Always consider the source. Always consider the source, follow it. Like, I am completely biased. Can't you tell my bias? I'm completely biased towards the market because that's what I know. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have to realize that I'm not going to be like, yeah, do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be more cautious about it, that we have to be careful with it. Don't think that it's a clear win. But I would say the same thing about any stock or any portfolio that we put together. I would say the same thing, but I just want to encourage us to be, manage our risk, think through things. As was mentioned, be careful with what you sign. Like, one of the members is, she's really involved in real estate, and she sent me a text today, and she said, hey, this partner that I have on a deal, he wants to use my company on this contract that we're setting up. But he asked her to come in on it, and she said, should I do it? And I said, no. I was like, why in the world? Like, I don't know, but you have to be very careful. Like, he was basically trying to see if she would accumulate this debt because they were signing up for something that was going to cost.
Oh.
And he was bringing her in on it. So he was supposed to be fronting that, and she was going to help him make it happen. So why would you want my business? You know what I'm saying? To if you're going to pay for it.
Pay for it, right.
So I'm praying that she did, because I'm going to tell you, the thousands of times I've said, no, don't do it. And y'all still do it. So
nobody on this call.
That's right. But nobody on this call. And that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they don't get mad like at the person who did it to them. They get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you should have made sure I didn't do it. So but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to take that hit so I can sleep well at night. I'd rather you not, you know what I mean? I'd rather you be mad at me and I do right by them than to like me and I'm messing over. Because you can mess over people and make a lot of friends. And you don't want that. Like we talked about on Sunday morning, you know what I mean? Your good name is everything. So your good name, like, somebody don't have to like you, but they definitely have to respect my commitment, to looking out for your best interests. So let's make sure that we learn more about all of the investment options. Let's do everything we can to increase our understanding of the stock market. The members only meetings, I believe help, with that. Like, just having someone like me in your life that you feel comfortable talking to. Like, I think that will help. Like that as we are, just looking at things, realize that some of our investments do need to be very secure as you're planning for your future. So you might look at the market and feel like I'm missing out on everything, but you're going to have to see that the discipline that it takes to hold on to what you need to take care of you for the rest. There's always going to be a hot new idea, so you have to like overlook the fear of missing out and realize that I have accumulated this. And then now this is for security. But also we can put this other part over here and allow that to grow. But I always say, I prefer to avoid exposing money that you are going to need to any risk at all. I would just much rather. So, we have to have our secure bucket for that retirement income or supplement your income. And then we can have that growth bucket. But just be careful. And I'll say anything that seems too good to be true, it generally is. It generally is. And what about, like, before you leave me, because it is time I know you want to go, some mistakes that people make in purchasing, even their residential real estate. One, I would say, is that many people don't know about the neighborhood that they're in. And they don't know, like I was talking about, the history of the appraisals and what the value was a couple of months ago and where they're buying it from. So they don't know if they're buying it at an abnormally high price and that within the next year or so, they're going to be underwater, meaning they're going to owe more than what the house is worth. And they're going to have to take some years of getting that back in line. But that has happened to millions of people. And right now, we have to be very careful in the suburbs about these high appraisals. Indeed. So we have to also, in our residential real estate purchases, think about the future of that particular neighborhood, of that particular property, of your life. Like a lot of times you think, I want this backyard because, for the kids and then they go to school and they don't come back and they're gone and you have this huge property. And you have to figure out, so you have to, be very careful in your purchase of your future. And that is a hard decision to make. But if you don't want to, not think about, what things will change, or is this where I would want to live, when I'm by myself, or even if you're purchasing it and you only have one bedroom and you're just getting married and you're going to have more children, then is that a smart move when you don't have another bedroom or two or three, so, and then you have to buy another one because you're going to have to go through all those fees again. So just anticipate your future, be either getting smaller or your family is growing. And and sometimes people will pay way too much for things that you think are important to you. You go, oh, well, like right now, I got to live in the suburbs because, I don't, when last year, they definitely wanted that condo in the city. Now, because they're going through the pandemic, they think that they're always going to work from home, got to have more space, don't want to be in the city, don't need to have no Starbucks around the corner anymore. All of your urban thoughts have gone. So now you're going to sell at the bottom of your market and go buy at the peak of that market. Be careful with that. Be careful with that. Because even like New York, their real estate is beginning to come back up in value because they were like, oh, nobody wants to live in New York. And the people were moving out. Did y'all hear about that? People leaving New York, just gone.
Yep.
And now it's going, coming back up again because people are like, craziness, it's going to end. There's a vaccine, and now they're going to have to pay more if they want to come back. And wherever you're purchasing, then we have to make sure we look around. What's the future of that's around you? Is it good or is it bad? No. How is that going to look in 10 years? What is that going to be like? So really, think about that. Is it this great big field and then all of a sudden Verizon comes in and they put this great big, antenna up? I don't, know, but we do need to be aware of that. And asking also the price that you're paying for it and just accepting it. Kind of just because they ask for that price, that doesn't mean, you have to pay that price. And then if you get excited about that price, you shouldn't be just thinking about that price. You need to be looking at the fees, the rates, and everything that's involved in that deal. But sometimes when you get the price and be like, yeah, they accepted my offer. You heard that before? They accepted it. So you're all excited, you put your guard down and you forget to look at all the other things that are going on, to look at the paperwork completely, get JB to look at it or something, that you just they took my price. That's enough. Right.
And JB, there's a question about buying a piece of land and building a home versus buying a pre-existing home.
Yeah. I think that would be, up to you on how you think you can make it most cost effective for you. because that definitely, happens. But you have to like really run the numbers and tell me like, why would that be easier? I said, somebody was just doing that recently and they said they were going to build, but then they ended up just buying. They found the house that they wanted, and they said this will be easier. But I think as far as easier, of course, it would be easier to see exactly what you want. But if you're the type of person and you want to go through that grueling process of getting mad at everybody at the site, right? It's probably some sort of bliss in just seeing it when it's finished and loving it, than to really, I can't believe they didn't lay this cement right, oh, that would just be overwhelming, you know what I mean, to me. But people love it. But I had this one family, they weren't members, but they were all over Facebook about breaking ground and this and that. And something went wrong with the construction people and they changed their mind, and I saw them somewhere and I said, how's the house coming? They were, oh no, we decided not to do that. It's like,
wow.
I think that's what happened. But they, it was something, it was like, it was very like because of the site and something they didn't do. And, and it depends on how particular you are. But again, if you're in that business and you know how it should be done, have you ever seen that parable when the man, construction man tells one of his workers, go out and build this one last house for me if you could. And he says, okay. And then the guy, goes out and he halfway does it and doesn't really do a good job on the house and everything. And then at the end, the owner of the company says, here, this is your house. So it's like, so you just have to, make sure that they build it, like they're going to live in it, not like it's their last house they're going to build. I'm tired of this. But that was a funny story. I was like, yep, better put your all in all that we do. But that's, good question. I don't know. Anybody have opinion? What I think it is just a matter of preference. What do you think, Ms. Hayes?
Well, we built our house, so from construction up. But of course, we had a project manager and a development company, so we didn't have to do much other than just come by and make sure they weren't throwing beer cans in the walls.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I guess it would be like, I don't know why I didn't think about it could be a neighborhood. I was thinking like, in the woods, like, you know what I mean, and built it like really good. But you know what, there are like like the people I was saying from Facebook, they were in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
I guess in a neighborhood it would be easier.
But if they canceled that deal, somebody lost money.
Right?
You got to have a legitimate reason to back out.
So true. Yes. Isn't that the truth? Because you got to put deposits and everything.
You got to put earnest money down, and somebody lost money.
Yeah, it's whack. That's crazy.
I'm not in the business of losing.
Right. So we're definitely also think about, the saving and the down payment and the rate and the fees and, what is best for you, and then, but the residential to me is easier. And, but the most important thing I feel about residential real estate is that you need to make sure that it is not too much. Because as Ms. Howard was saying about knowing family, that they're like house poor, like they created into this phrase, but it's like, my payment is too big. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just want to make it sound better. Like, you know what I'm saying? But my house payment, housing is taking up too much.
I can't afford it.
It's supposed to be around 30%.
Yeah.
30% of your income. And a lot of people, their housing is like 80% of their income. And then you have like situations where the one person and they have like 5 bedrooms, and all of this space. Like, is that the most cost-effective use of your money when you still need to make sure that if you're single, You need long-term care. You need to have your retirement intact. You know, you're the one that has to protect yourself. So if you're putting all of the money in that house, then the only way to take care of your future needs will be to sell the house. Which is okay, as long as you do not refinance it, you can get your money back out. But I think the best way to do it is just to make sure that you have affordable housing for yourself. Keep it down. And regardless, if you're a renter, like, don't believe the hype. You can become very financially independent as a renter or as a homeowner. But you can also be a not financially independent renter and not financially independent home buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the financial independence is having the assets that provide you with the income to maintain your lifestyle.
Yes.
So that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's not that like, trying to satisfy anybody else's or what their vision of success is, because you have more and more people getting to retirement age, selling their house, and then beginning to rent. Yep. So, that you don't know, you meet somebody in their 70s, you don't know if they've always rented, they could have just started renting, but it's sad when, you want to get rid of the house, but you feel like you can't get rid of the house, because then people will ask, why'd you get rid of the house? Well, just know, like, if you do that, and with anything, like I said, with the building, that said with everything, any of the debts that, I sold, like that, that people are always going to ask why you want to invest in other areas. You can't do, if you're putting all your money into another area, you know what I'm saying? You can't invest in the other area. So as long as you're investing and keeping your debts down, and making wise investments. And how do we decide if it's a wise investment? We're going to have to really think this thing through. Is it appreciating? Is it creating income? Is it creating something positive, a positive addition? Is that asset good for you? Not potential. The day you get it, is that asset going to add value? Not next year. Exactly. Maybe if no. So any other questions before we go? Y'all are the best. I hope that helped. Do you feel like, anything? I guess you just have a lot to think about. It's always good. It's always good when I leave y'all with some thoughts. That's right. Y'all feel good? We okay?
We're good.
Amen. That's so good. Thank you. And I'll see y'all on Friday morning, our members only meeting. Friday morning and midday Friday, we're talking about leadership camp for our business owners and entrepreneurs and those who aspire to be one. On Friday at noon, 9 a.m. is the members only meeting. And then Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, JB.
Thank you so much. It's good to hear your voice, Miss Monique.
Okay.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
JB.
Good night.